Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about stand-ups. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, do you feel that stand-ups are necessary? And the short answer is yes. I think that they are very necessary. If you're going to work as part of a software team, I truly believe that the stand-up is a necessary thing. Now, the reason why this question is posed is more or less because this person has a little bit of a background saying that it makes him feel uncomfortable a little bit to stand there and have to be shamed, quote unquote, into either that he didn't perform so well or feel that anxiety that he's not where he should be, because, you know, when we're working in an agile development fashion, we have estimations, and estimations basically is that I have said that I think that this thing here, or at least my team has said so, we think that this story here is going to take X amount of time. And when you're doing the stand-up, you know, you basically talk about where you are, if you're facing some difficulties, and depending on the type of the stand-up, because, you know, there's no blueprint necessarily to a stand-up. I think the only rough rule is that you should stand up for the very reason, and the reason why you want to stand up is because you want the meeting to be short. It should not take so long that you start feeling uncomfortable standing in a group of people and talking, basically. But in essence, I can understand what he's saying, that this, because I've met many people who feel like the stand-up is either unnecessary or they feel that it's uncomfortable in some fashion. Now, the reason why I think it is necessary and why I think it's extremely valuable is because it is depending on your work environment and depending on who you are as an individual, how your team is functioning, how your company is managed, it may actually be the only time during a day where you have a chance to know if one of your coworkers needs help, or reaching out for help is the sort of thing that you can do in the stand-up. You get, as a manager, like a rough idea how things are progressing, if there's something you need to take an action on. There's so much useful information that comes from the stand-up. Now, that being said, quite a lot of people that I've met that are a little bit on the shy side, they feel discomfort from having to stand there and feel like they're being judged, or feeling like they have to go in front of a bunch of people and then explain themselves and so forth, because there is a level of prestige in software development, and I'm pretty sure that you've felt it at some point, that there is a performance anxiety. There is a hierarchy, or a perceived hierarchy, and in many ways how people compare themselves to other people just generally in life. Programmers compare their progress and their efforts to that of other programmers. Now, the reason why I think that this is something that should be dealt with rather than you ignoring the stand-up is because of what I said. The knowledge sharing and the format of this meeting is extremely useful, especially if you want to build up a strong team connection, a strong team dynamic. If you just have the stand-up, that is actually enough for most teams to just get the information that they need from each other. And at worst, if your team spirit is really low and you have a bunch of introverts who really don't want to talk to each other, this is like dipping your toe into more serious, in-depth conversations between your team members, because what you want is to build those personal connections within the team, especially if you are a manager. But some people, just in some groups, they really have a hard time connecting to people, and this is the minimum effort, or rather this is, I would say, the minimum requirement to get that process going. Now, if you want this to be a smoother ride, it is vital for you as the manager to make this a comfortable environment. You see, the stand-up can be a positive thing. It can be a very relaxed thing, or something that, you know, it's just another day at the office. It's nothing that causes any type of discomfort. For everybody who is insecure and so forth, that may be something that is causing some sort of anxiety, right? But you have the power to turn that into something else. You have to make people feel as if we are not judging you. And if you can make them feel like there is no, like, all we're doing here is we're trying to share some information so that if we need to allocate resources to you, not because you're a bad programmer necessarily, but because this thing here that we all agreed on was this hard, and you see now that you've been working on it, that it was actually harder, yeah, then we need to help. We need to make sure that this works out, or maybe we just need to give you some extra time. You have to, like, pretty much, you have to deflate the situation. You have to deflate the prestige, if you will, of the stand-up. If you can get it to just be a normal conversation between coworkers who all kind of understand each other and feel comfortable working with each other, then this is by far and wide the most important meeting that you can possibly have. And I can make an entire series of videos on how to deal with people and how to help them understand, and like how to connect to people in such a fashion that this can actually happen. But a really good manager with a high emotional intelligence level will be able to do this and turn the stand-up into something truly useful. So what I want you to take away from this is that I do believe that the stand-up is absolutely vital, and I think that the misconception for quite a lot of people is that this is a form to be judged, or this is a form where you need to prove yourself and stand there and be accountable for all your mistakes, or why you're not on time, or things of this nature, where some programmers get to brag, quote unquote, on how quickly they get finished, and some programmers have to hang their head in shame or stand there and be uncomfortable because they don't feel good about talking in front of a lot of people. But this is, in my world, a symptom of a bad work culture. If you feel that the stand-up is uncomfortable, it's one part, it may be on your part that you feel insecure, but it's also an equal responsibility from equal part of the workplace, where you may not feel like this is a relaxed and safe environment, where you feel that there is maybe a risk in not performing as well as you should be, etc., etc. And it's pretty much a mutual responsibility between the team members and the manager or the workplace to make sure that this feels as a comfortable forum to share ideas. Because if this is not possible, then you have a really serious problem. If you cannot make the stand-up be something that is fairly relaxed and where you're just actually trying to help each other out, then you have almost no team spirit, and most likely you're actually figuring out that there's a much deeper rooted problem than, the stand-up is uncomfortable. So that's the sort of thing that you really need to act on as a company and as a manager. If you see that your programmers don't really want to do the stand-up because it's uncomfortable, that is a big red warning flag that you need to act. Maybe even go like really deep here and try to do some group activities or something like that to figure out what's going on. Have a great day.